The scale of the government's initiative will match the challenges of our times.
The mighty Buckingham Palace had never felt so heavy and vulnerable. In the stillness of the blue drawing room, King Charles stood alone, his face pale but his decision unshakable. "I can no longer serve as your king," he whispered, his words slicing through centuries of royal tradition. This wasn't politics. It wasn't a scandal. It was something far more personal, a secret battle, a failing body, and a final vow only he could make. Across the room, William and Catherine stood still, shaken to the bones. The crown now lingered in the air, suspended by a silence louder than any royal proclamation.
Royal scepter, the ensign of kingly power and justice.
The monarchy had just shifted, but the reason would rock its very foundation. Behind the polished smiles of royal engagements and the carefully worded press statements, a different story had been unfolding. A hidden war waged behind palace walls. For months, King Charles had been privately fighting an illness far more aggressive than anyone beyond his tight inner circle suspected.
He had some response to it, some adverse side effects that required him to be admitted to hospital for a short period for observation.
The public heard hopeful phrases about treatment and rest, but inside the palace, the truth was far darker. It started quietly. Fatigue, cancelled appearances, shorter speeches, early exits. Yet those closest to him noticed more: shaking hands, a faint wheeze after standing too long, just to mention a few.
It is a belief in the extraordinary ability of each person to touch with goodness and compassion.
Then came the secret hospital visits, quietly arranged between public duties to disguise them as day-to-day work. The diagnosis was whispered in solemn tones: cancer, and not the kind that grants a monarchy time.
Breaking news in the United Kingdom, where King Charles III has been diagnosed with cancer.
Then the moment came, a breaking point that arrived on a cold, gray afternoon at the palace, weeks into his decline, and moments before everything would change forever.
I speak to you today with feelings of profound sorrow.
He stood in the blue drawing room, trembling, eyes locked on a photograph of his grandchildren. Then, with one sentence, King Charles III shook the monarchy to its core. "I can no longer serve as your king." In a moment of unimaginable vulnerability, Charles voluntarily abdicated the throne, passing the crown and the burdens that come with it to Prince William and Princess Catherine.
Today, I am proud to create him Prince of Wales.
But what drove him to that heartbreaking decision? And how will the monarchy survive the greatest transfer of power in modern royal history? What if King Charles, facing a secret and serious illness, voluntarily stepped down, leaving Britain and the world stunned? Let's imagine the drama, the sacrifice, and the rebirth of a modern monarchy from crisis.
By the grace of God, of the United Kingdom of Great Britain, and of his other realms and territories, King.
According to reports, the crisis began quietly, hidden behind palace doors. For months, King Charles had been battling a devastating diagnosis. In this speculative account, the monarch had been quietly enduring an aggressive illness, one that the public knew nothing about.
Yes, that's right. It's a reminder, of course, that the king is still having cancer treatment. That's now been going on.
Royal insiders whispered of increasing frailty, private doctor visits at odd hours, and sudden disappearances from the public eye. Charles, ever the dutiful monarch, tried to carry on. He attended official ceremonies with a smile, waved to crowds, and shook hands.
It's so nice to see you again.
But behind closed doors, he struggled. He was losing weight. His energy waned. The burden of the crown, once a lifetime ambition, had become an unbearable weight. Then came the sleepless nights.
And at this time of great anxiety and hardship,
According to sources from the royal house, Charles often sat alone in the early hours, reflecting on his legacy, mortality, and the future of the monarchy.
King Charles has already changed the way he signs his name. It's now Charles R. for Rex, King.
He confided only in Queen Camilla, who reportedly wept beside him in whispered, speculative accounts. One night, as the story goes, Charles gazed at a photograph of his grandchildren, George, Charlotte, and Louis, on his desk. His hand trembled. "They deserve a vibrant, energetic monarch," he said. That was the moment the decision began to form.
He succeeds me as Duke of Cornwall and takes on the responsibilities for the Duchy of Cornwall.
What followed? Buckingham Palace convened an emergency meeting in late autumn. The king's most trusted advisors were called into the Blue Drawing Room, a setting steeped in royal tradition, but now filled with tension.
And now King Charles's crowning moment, the first of two crowns to be placed upon his head.
Speculative accounts imagined the room heavy with silence as Charles addressed the inner circle. "I have summoned you here," he began, voice quivering slightly, "because I cannot carry on this role as your sovereign while my health fails me." Gasps echoed in the room. "I have spoken with Her Majesty the Queen. I have spoken with my son, the Prince of Wales. And after months of reflection, I have reached a conclusion that no monarch has willingly reached in modern times." He paused, gathering breath. "I intend to abdicate the throne." According to insider sources, the room froze in stunned disbelief. No reigning British monarch had voluntarily abdicated since Edward VIII in 1936. But unlike that scandalous departure, this was different. This was about family, legacy, and the realization that the monarchy could not endure another prolonged health crisis in the wake of Queen Elizabeth II's passing. Charles's words were clear, his tone firm despite the emotion. "I do this not out of weakness," he said, "but out of love for my country, my family, and the future of the crown." In another speculative account, Prince William and Catherine were summoned to Balmoral Castle weeks before the official announcement. According to insiders, the meeting was bittersweet. William reportedly protested at first. "Father, you don't need to do this," he said, his voice cracking.
As my heir, William now assumes the Scottish titles, which have meant so much to me.
But Charles had made up his mind. He reached for his son's hand. "William, the nation needs continuity, not uncertainty. You and Catherine are ready, even if you don't feel it now." In private, Catherine wept. Her role as the Princess of Wales was already heavy, but this would be another level entirely. According to the reported scenario, she confided in her closest friends about sleepless nights, fearing the strain on her young family.
Somehow these deep-rooted needs aren't always met by the societies we're creating.
But, in the end, the couple accepted the mantle out of love, duty, and the knowledge that the monarchy needed a generational shift. In a reported portrayal, King Charles appeared live from Buckingham Palace. His voice, though frail, carried the gravity of history. Here is the speech that he reportedly prepared. "My beloved people, when I took the oath to serve as your king, I did so with my whole heart and utmost sincerity.
The things which I have herebefore promised, I will perform and keep, so help me God."
Yet, life presents us with moments of reflection, moments when we must consider not just ourselves, but the greater good of those we serve. Over the past year, I have faced significant health challenges. After consultation with my doctors, my family, and my conscience, I have concluded that I can no longer fulfill the duties required of me as your sovereign. Therefore, with the deepest love for my country and unwavering faith in the future, I announce today my abdication from the throne of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth realms.
By the House of Lords and the House of Commons, which so touchingly encompass.
Those around the room froze in disbelief, hands covering their mouths, some weeping openly. Charles continued, I hereby declare my son, Prince William, and his wife, Catherine, Princess of Wales, as my rightful successors. They will ascend the throne as King William V and Queen Catherine. I trust their wisdom, compassion, and strength to guide this nation into a new era. Reportedly, royal watchers called it the most emotional royal address since Queen Elizabeth II's reign. The moment William and Catherine were asked to take over the throne wasn't one of celebration. It was a moment of gravity, heartbreak, and unimaginable responsibility.
I want to say a few words about my father and why I believe this weekend is so important.
According to speculative reports, the call came late at night. The king's private secretary reached out, requesting a discreet meeting at Balmoral Castle. William and Catherine arrived under the cover of darkness, escorted by close security, their minds heavy with worry. Reportedly, Charles met them in the drawing room, his face pale but determined. The king's health had been declining for months, but this was different. There was an air of finality in the room, a sense that something irreversible was about to happen. "I cannot go on," Charles whispered, his hand trembling slightly as he reached for his son's. "William, it's time." At first, William refused. His natural instinct was to protect his father, not replace him. According to insiders, he pleaded with the king to reconsider.
My father's first words on entering Westminster Abbey yesterday were a pledge of service.
"Father, don't do this. The nation will understand if you need to rest. We can share duties. We can help you." But Charles interrupted him, his voice soft yet unyielding. "Son, this is not about me. This is about the monarchy, about your children, about the stability of the crown. The people cannot endure another royal health crisis so soon after losing your grandmother."
King Charles's cancer is incurable, and he will likely die with the disease.
They need continuity. They need youth, strength, and fresh vision. "You must take the throne now." Catherine, standing quietly beside William, felt the weight of the moment press into her chest. Royal duty had already transformed her life, but this was beyond anything she had prepared for. She thought of George, Charlotte, and Louis. Would they lose their parents to public life entirely? Catherine later confided in close friends that she wept that night in the Balmoral bedroom. She and William stayed up until dawn, pacing the floor, whispering about the future. "How can we be ready for this?" she asked him, tears in her eyes. According to an insider's account, William's answer came with the wisdom of someone raised for this very moment, even if he never truly wanted it.
My duties and my responsibilities to my family very seriously, and I want to bring my children up as good people.
"We won't be perfect," he said, "but we'll do it for them, for the kids, for the country, for everyone counting on us." After hours of soul-searching, William and Catherine returned to the drawing room at sunrise. Charles was still there, staring out the window, his silhouette etched by the pale Scottish light. William placed a hand on his father's shoulder. "If this is truly your wish, then we accept. We'll serve as best we can."
Both current and future generations, and those whose memory must not be neglected.
Catherine stood by his side, her hand resting on his. She didn't speak, but her nod was enough. Her eyes met Charles's, and in that silent moment, the unspoken promise was made. According to witnesses, there were no grand declarations, no triumphant cheers, only the quiet, solemn acceptance of a lifelong destiny.
As I stand before you today, I cannot help but feel the weight of history which surrounds us.
That day, William and Catherine officially agreed to step into the roles of King William V and Queen Catherine. Not out of ambition, but out of love, for family, for country, and for the institution they were now tasked with carrying into a new era. Expectedly, one of the hardest moments for William and Catherine came not in front of cameras, but in the quiet of their home at Adelaide Cottage. After accepting King Charles's abdication plan, they faced the task of telling their children, George, Charlotte, and Louis, that life as they knew it was about to change forever. According to reports, William and Catherine gathered the children in the sitting room one chilly evening. The fireplace crackled softly, but the mood was heavy. George, the eldest at 11, sensed something serious was coming. Charlotte clutched her mother's hand. Little Louis played absent-mindedly with a toy car, unaware of the gravity of the moment.
Prince Louis is clearly a delightful character. He's full of energy, he's full of beans.
William knelt in front of his children. "Mummy and I need to tell you something very important," he began, his voice gentle but firm. "Grandpa Charles has decided he can't be king anymore. He's asked me to step in, and that means one day, George, you'll be king too." Following that confession, George's eyes widened. "Does that mean we won't live here anymore?" he asked quietly. Catherine wrapped her arms around all three children. "It means life will change a little," she whispered, her voice breaking slightly. "But we'll do this together as a family, always."
There's no question in my mind, after that split, she became very steely. She grew up a lot in that time.
The children's reactions were mixed. Confusion, fear, and pride all blended together. But one thing was clear. The next chapter of their lives had begun, ready or not. The decision by King Charles to abdicate wasn't sudden. It was the heartbreaking culmination of months, perhaps years, of private suffering, secret health battles, and mounting emotional exhaustion. According to reports, the first signs appeared shortly after his coronation.
I, Charles, uphold and maintain the said enactments to the best of my powers according to law.
At public engagements, eagle-eyed royal watchers noticed subtle changes. The king seemed thinner, his skin paler, his expressions more distant.
Well, now, King Charles will return to public-facing work, as Buckingham Palace reports are encouraged by his progress.
There were moments when his hand trembled slightly as he lifted ceremonial regalia, and sometimes he appeared unsteady when standing for long periods.
I just had to put, is it September the 12th? 13, sir. Oh, God, the wrong date. 13? Yes, sir.
At first, these signs were brushed off by palace aides. After all, the weight of kingship is immense. A few shaky moments, understandable, but behind closed doors, Charles knew something was wrong. Apparently, he had been quietly battling an aggressive, undisclosed illness. Insiders suggested a rare form of cancer or a debilitating neurological condition, one that attacked both his body and stamina. Treatments were tried in secret. Private physicians came and went under the cover of night, using the palace's most discreet entrances. But the disease progressed relentlessly. For a time, Charles believed he could handle it privately. He was, after all, his mother's son.
Princess Elizabeth ascended to the throne and became Queen Elizabeth II. Prince Charles was the only one of their children.
A product of the never complain, never explain generation. Queen Elizabeth II had ruled with dignity through illness and age. Surely he could do the same, but his body betrayed him. The breaking point came during a state event at St. James's Palace. Cameras captured the usual smiles, handshakes, and polite nods. But what the public didn't see was the king staggering as he left the reception hall.
I'm sorry we're going to do it. The next one is next week. Yes, sir.
Behind the scenes, aides rushed to his side. According to fictional reports, Charles collapsed momentarily, his legs unable to support him, his face drained of color, and his breath came in shallow gasps. For those in the room, it was terrifying. For Charles, it was humiliating. Palace insiders said that moment haunted him. He had sworn never to be seen as weak, but now his secret battle was becoming visible, and he knew the clock was ticking. Over the next few months, Charles's condition worsened. His once daily walks became weekly. His correspondence piled up. He canceled events with vague reasons, fatigue, routine checkups, but whispers began to circulate.
This has been a really tough year for the royal family, with both the King and the Princess of Wales diagnosed with cancer.
Staff members noticed him spending long hours in his private study, staring out the window. He spoke often about legacy, about his grandchildren, about the future of the monarchy. As you would expect, he confided in Queen Camilla during these private moments. "I've waited my whole life for this role," he told her one night, his voice heavy with regret. and now my body won't let me fulfill it. Camilla urged him to rest, to consider stepping back temporarily. But Charles knew better. Monarchs don't take sick leave. Monarchs either reign or they don't. Charles's health wasn't the only battle. The emotional weight of his role had become unbearable.
Well, I always thought that Charles would make a wonderful king because he cares so much. He cares about his country and he cares about the people.
Taking the throne after Queen Elizabeth, one of the longest reigning monarchs in history, had been both an honor and a curse. The comparisons were relentless, the expectations crushing. According to reports, the king confided in close friends that he felt like a transitional figure, a placeholder between Elizabeth's legacy and William's future. "I thought I'd have time to make my mark," he reportedly said, but fate had other plans. The guilt gnawed at him. He thought of his mother's unwavering service, even in her final days, but he also thought of the modern world, a world where transparency, empathy, and family mattered just as much as tradition. Did the monarchy need a king who was physically declining, or did it need new, youthful energy? Charles wrestled with that question night after night, pacing the halls of Windsor Castle, replaying it in his mind like a loop he couldn't escape. The news of King Charles's abdication sent shockwaves through the Commonwealth, but the response from its leaders was one of humility and deep respect.
Keep going strong. Keep going strong. Never give in.
According to reports, prime ministers and presidents from Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and other Commonwealth nations quickly issued statements acknowledging the king's extraordinary sacrifice. Many recognized the unprecedented nature of his decision, not driven by scandal or political crisis, but by personal health and the desire for continuity. Canada's Prime Minister reportedly called it a graceful exit that redefines leadership for the modern era. Leaders across Africa, the Caribbean, and the Pacific echoed similar sentiments. There were no demands for immediate constitutional changes or calls for republicanism, just quiet acknowledgement of a monarch stepping aside for the good of the institution. The abdication seemed to unite the Commonwealth in a moment of reflection, not division, marking a rare historical event handled with dignity on all sides.
I love community conservation, and Namibia have been some of the sort of world leaders in community conservation.
Global attention quickly shifted to Catherine, the new Queen Consort, soon to be Queen Catherine. According to reports, the world reacted with a rare sense of unity and optimism. Headlines across Europe, America, and the Commonwealth praised Catherine's poise, compassion, and modern approach to royalty. Many saw her as a symbol of quiet strength, someone who had gracefully navigated years of intense media scrutiny without scandal or misstep. Royal commentators predicted Catherine would usher in a new era of monarchy, one rooted in empathy, family values, and a connection to everyday people.
My family was the most important thing to me. They provided me with somewhere safe to grow and learn, and I know I was fortunate.
Her hands-on parenting, commitment to mental health advocacy, and calm public demeanor had already earned her the nickname, the People's Queen in Waiting. Polls showed overwhelming public support, with citizens across the UK and the Commonwealth expressing confidence in her ability to fulfill the role with dignity and heart. "She's relatable, yet regal," one news outlet declared. Another speculated Catherine might be exactly what the monarchy needs to survive the 21st century. King Charles's decision to abdicate will become a defining moment of his legacy, one that historians and citizens alike will discuss for decades to come. According to royal insiders, Charles's reign was never about personal glory or the pursuit of power. From the start, he viewed kingship as a duty of service.
In our service to others, that I believe we can find hope for the future.
A continuation of the lifelong commitment he inherited from his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. Yet, unlike his predecessors, Charles chose to step away from the throne, not because of scandal or controversy, but out of humility and foresight. His abdication is seen as a bold and compassionate act. Facing a devastating health crisis, Charles recognized the limitations of his condition and refused to allow the monarchy to enter another prolonged period of uncertainty.
There are new bombshell claims today from royal insiders who say King Charles's cancer is incurable.
Instead of clinging to tradition or status, he chose to prioritize the institution's long-term stability over his personal ambition. Royal historians believe his decision will reshape the monarchy's future, setting a precedent for modern leadership in which transparency, humanity, and self-awareness take precedence over rigid protocol. Decades from now, King Charles won't just be remembered as the king who waited a lifetime to ascend the throne. He'll be remembered as the monarch who loved his country enough to let go. His legacy will be one of transformation, proving that true leadership sometimes means knowing when to step aside so that the next generation can lead. As the nation prepares for the coronation of King William V and Queen Catherine, the mood is one of cautious optimism and generational transition.
In a sense, instructing you as the future king about, as it were, the art of monarchy. Has she sort of taken you aside?
According to insider reports, the public believes that William and Catherine are uniquely prepared for this role, not because they sought power, but because they earned public trust through years of dedication, dignity, and compassion.
Now, to observe our current monarch, the Queen, what, from the very particular perspective that you have as a future king?
For over a decade, the couple has quietly taken on increasing responsibilities. Take, for example, they've modernized royal engagements, connected with communities, and focused on issues like mental health, the environment, and early childhood development. Their balanced approach to family life and public service has endeared them to millions.
With the right people, the right support, close family around you to guide you. I think she sees that more important than instructing.
Polls suggest overwhelming public confidence in their reign. Citizens believe William and Catherine will guide the monarchy with a blend of tradition and modern sensibility. Yet, they also understand the heavy burden the couple now carries. They are not just becoming king and queen, they are becoming the face of a new era, responsible for the survival and evolution of the monarchy itself. Meanwhile, King Charles has retreated gracefully into private life following his bold abdication. He spends his days in the gardens of Sandringham, writing memoirs, mentoring William privately, and reflecting on a lifetime of royal service.
And it's been incredibly insightful for me growing up, watching her leadership in that role.
His decision to step down at the peak of his illness is seen by many as an act of courage, not surrender. The king's abdication will inspire future generations of leaders, not just in royal circles, but in all walks of life, to recognize when it's time to pass the torch. His choice signals a shift in leadership values, from holding on to power to knowing when to let go. As the coronation day approaches, the world watches with anticipation. Will William and Catherine fulfill the enormous expectations now placed upon them? Can they modernize the monarchy without losing its core traditions? And how will history ultimately judge the bold, human decision of a king who chose love and legacy over pride? Only time will tell. And that's it from us today. Until next time, thank you for watching.